As the population increases, particularly in cities, the housing crisis only worsens. As such, many have suggested allowing packed cities to break their banks and spill even further into their greenbelts. Greenbelts exist up and down the country. They add greenery, fresh air, and open space around and between our cities. They provide a home for wildlife and offset the carbon emissions and pollution generated by the city. They are the countryside next door, accessible parts of rural Britain. For 30 million people, they provide an escape from the cramped and heaving cities. Once the greenbelt is gone, it's gone for good. Building over it is no solution to an increasingly overcrowded country. The number of people in the UK is set to rise by an astonishing 5 to 7 million over the next 2 decades. At that rate, we will inevitably end up right where we started, this time with no greenbelt to build over. Gobbling up the greenbelt, concreting over fields, and felling ancient woods is not the way to tackle the housing crisis. The sober and sensible solution is to address the current scale of immigration that is responsible for more than 80% of the UK population growth. Not much more than 20 years ago, the number of net arrivals from overseas jumped sharply, from the tens to the hundreds of thousands. The upshot is that mass immigration has added 1 million more people to the UK every 3 years. This is unsustainable for many reasons, and it simply must be reduced. Paving paradise to put up new housing developments are acts of utter folly. Currently, 1 million new homes are being planned to sprawl between Oxford and Cambridge, covering an area of countryside larger than Birmingham. Plans have been approved to build hundreds of homes every year on the South Downs National Park. And last year, the London Greenbelt Council said the number of homes proposed on the Greenbelt had almost doubled over the course of 2 years to more than 200,000. This is nonsense and unpopular. 64% of people feel that the Greenbelt ought to be protected, with only 17% saying it should be developed. Other polls show that 6 in 10 people would like to see a reduction in immigration to the UK. The government would do well to listen. By reducing immigration, they might also save the Greenbelt.